Gorefield. Perhaps one of the most powerful fictional entities created in the work of, like, fandom and horror stuff, or just creepypasta things in general. Seen as often unstoppable, impossible to destroy, and he will always win. Well, until today. Yes, kids, today I'm going to show you how Gorefield is not unstoppable. In fact, can be stopped, and guarantee you the ultimate way of killing Gorefield. Now, I know what you're thinking. Will, that's impossible. His whole point of the story is that he is unstoppable, unbeatable, all-knowable. He even so much declares himself as omnipotent and God. How do you plan to destroy him? Well, it's actually not that hard. You see, Gorefield doesn't have a set canon, if you mean. There isn't even like the SCP Foundation, where there are some rules we can work off of. What I mean by that is, like, at least stuff like the SCP Foundation that has a bunch of branching continuities, generally still has the idea of stuff like, like, it has like a set continuity, or at least the idea of what it is. Gorefield doesn't really have that. I say the closest thing Gorefield has to a set continuity is the Lumpy Touch videos, but even then, that's just one subset, and even in his own videos, Gorefield doesn't obey the same rules. So even then, it's only so consistent. I'd say the classic images that kind of story are the closest rules we have, which others work off of, and I say that's pretty good place to start. However, I've identified several power levels of Gorefield, if you will, depending on how powerful he is, what kind of weapons you'll need to destroy him, and who will be able to take him out. Now, I want to set a disclaimer. As a general rule, I am not going to use truly omnipotent characters or beings, either in the real world or fictional, and I'm not going to use characters who I think could take out Gorefield, but would make the problem worse in some way. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna give Thanos the Infinity Gauntlet, because then we have an even bigger problem than Gorefield on our hands. So generally no evil characters, at least no characters that will do more damage being there than Gorefield would be. Okay, rules set. Stage 1 of Gorefield power. This one is the weakest version. I know this one is more of the shape-shifting monster type. I know that sounds kind of funny me saying weak, but there's some truth to it. This version of Gorefield is most classically seen in those classic images, and it's probably the closest to the base version of him. However, this one has some pretty obvious weaknesses. One is that it's basically just John Carpenter's The Thing, but without the ability to affect people, which is still very dangerous to a point. It's dangerous, yeah, but it's not invulnerable. All John would really need is a flamethrower to dish out the pain, which means finding a character capable of destroying him isn't very difficult. Stuff like Captain America or the Avengers, the John Carpenter's The Things team, the DC universe, the military, a bunch of dudes with the flamethrower, the Scooby-Doo gang could probably deal with it somehow. All I'm saying is, it's not very difficult to find a way to kill this Gorefield. The only way it's really dangerous to John is that it's only dangerous because he doesn't have the weapons to deal with him. Also because he can relatively pick off of one person. Although I highly expect someone with planes or a bombing run could do a lot. It could probably wipe him out of existence. This version, I just say aim for the head and make sure the brain dies. And then burn the corpse, just to be sure. However, that is the most powerful Gorefield. Now, the next more powerful Gorefield is more plot and magic. It has the ability to, well, basically survive injuries it shouldn't, and it's basically a more powerful version. This one is kind of the second burst, same as the first, just more firepower. Blow it up, more firepower, more explosions, call in some heavy hitters, and you probably got it. Worst case scenario, nuke the area, that will probably do it. And then double nuke it. And then burn it, napalm it, just to be sure. Okay, but that's not what we're talking about. That's basically just how do we kill an evil monster. No, we need to know how to kill the most powerful version of Gorefield. How do you kill Gorefield when he declares himself a god? Surely you can't possibly kill him then, when he can bend reality with wind, manipulate the flesh, convert people to willing servants. How do you win? Well, here's the thing. Despite what he says of being unstoppable, unkillable, it's not true. He's just really powerful, but not unstoppable. I know I'm about to blow your mind here, but remember the eye. This sounds really silly, especially because he always says bullets don't work, but he lost an eye with a shotgun shot. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think the all-powerful, omnipotent entity is going to lose an eye in a fight. And remember, it's relatively consistent that he is looking for something. He is looking for John. An omnipotent entity doesn't need to look. An omnipotent entity can just know. They just know where they want what is. So Gorefield wouldn't have to be looking for John if he was truly omnipotent, which means he isn't. Which means he is stoppable. Which means all we just need is a big enough weapon to take him out. But who could possibly take out a reality-bending, mind-manipulating, flesh-mutating monster? Well, I'd say there are some candidates. There are some meme candidates, of course, like send John Wick after killing his dog, which probably would do the trick. But no, I'm gonna try to be serious with who I think could kill an entity this powerful. Now, there are a few good candidates. I'd say sending some of the Greek gods might be a reasonable solution, because they are powerful enough and can't really die, and I don't really see them being affected by that. So sending like maybe the Greek or Egyptian gods might do the trick. But I think the best shot you have at taking down Gorefield in this state, the most powerful, flesh-warping, reality-manipulating one, is Dr. Clef from the SCP Foundation. Now, his lore occasionally changes based on what interpretation you go off of, but relatively consistent powers and abilities he has is that he is mostly or straight up immune to most reality-bending effects, either because he just is, or he's such a powerful reality bender himself that they just don't take effect on him. I tend to go with the latter theory, but either one works here. So Gorefield won't be able to convert his mind or mutate his flesh, so Dr. Clef is good there. Second thing, Dr. Clef always has the ability to kind of just step past security, because they always replace with an animal head or something, and they just don't register him as a threat. That means, at least potentially, that if Gorefield tries to use any technological means of tracking Clef down during his fight, it might not work. Maybe, unless he gets wise and realizes that the random animal head guy might be the same dude. However, Dr. Clef has taken on huge threats in the SCP universe on multiple occasions, and he was able to win a fight against Dr. Kalowski, who, need I remind you, at least in some stories, was able to ride the hard-to-kill reptile just because he could during a containment breach. So, Dr. Clef is always portrayed as one of the Foundation's heaviest hitters, as far as, like, Foundation members, doctors go. In fact, I remember, he's considered that among the ones like Dr. Kalowski, who can ride the hard-to-kill reptile sometimes, Dr. Bright, who's literally unkillable, and Dr. Gears, who is quite literally very smart, can do a lot of things with that alone, and he's considered dangerous among them. Of course, he's not unbeatable, of course, he has lost, but need I remind you, the most classic example of him losing a fight was him losing, you know, to the entire Foundation base after taking out most of them. And he did kill a goddess once, a goddess of nature, so he has definitely got some power under his belt. I know it's been a long time talking about Dr. Clef, but I fully believe that any version of Gorefield you need to ever deal with can be solved with a Dr. Clef. So simply just plop Dr. Clef in the way and watch him take out Gorefield. Give him a few weeks and it should be over with. However, there is one Gorefield more powerful than this. The ultimate Gorefield. The most powerful Gorefield. This Gorefield transcends reality, fiction, blurs the line between them all, and is easily the most hard to kill. But how do you kill something that messes with the reality on such a level that blurs the line between fiction and reality, that can move between panels, that can manipulate the very fabric of space-time and can potentially infect our world? How do you do it? Well, you may not like the solution, but it might be the only way to save your butt and your world. You're gonna need to get a piece of paper and write this down. Simply write, Gorefield dies. I know, that sounds crazy. I'm clearly being crazy, right? But this is the guaranteed way to kill the most powerful Gorefield. You see, unlike other fictional characters, like the Marvel Avengers, or even SCP Foundation, Gorefield doesn't have a set reality. He can't. He was born as a fictional idea. He is a fictional idea without a set world, a set continuity. That means that he is bound by the collective will of humanity. Meaning that if you were to ever infect your world and try to be taking down your world, all it would take is for you to grab a pen on a piece of paper or typewriter or a computer monitor and simply type in Gorefield dies. This would instantly render him a Nort, because he is bound by the laws of fiction. He can't do things outside of his story. This is the side effect of not having your own world. He doesn't have his own world or rules to follow. So simply write that down, and Gorefield will fall. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little video. It was just a little something I wanted to do about how you would kill something truly powerful like that. But anyway, hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Yeah. Hey, why don't you hit that sub button? You're gonna become a subscriber. Get to see my content quicker. Wouldn't that be nice? I bet so.